Hey everybody, Bob Dickerson with In the Black, coming to you on Wednesday. How's everybody doing out there? Happy to see you. I'm happy to be seen. What's the thing they say? Happy to be seen and not viewed. So, I mean, I think that's a little corny. So, anyway, I'm not going to really spend a lot of time talking about that. That's morbid anyway. So, got a few things I want to just share today. I've been thinking about a whole lot of stuff that I want to say. I don't know if you all know this, and I may have said this once before. But when I get on these lives, what you don't realize is I immediately start getting pressure to get done. So anyway, I'm going to try to get done as quickly as I possibly can. Cheers. It's Wednesday. Uncle Nearest. Uncle Nearest. I put a little bit too much ice in this one. I don't normally put that much ice in it, but I think Uncle Nearest is something that you really have to respect. And so I had to put a lot of ice in the Uncle Nearest. So I don't know where I want to start today. So maybe I'll start with foolishness, and then I'll talk about something that's really good, and then I'm going to talk about some real foolishness. So anyway, first foolishness is people complaining about Alabama's ranking. I think it's real foolishness. Is Alabama one of the best teams in the country? Yeah. Are they one of the top five or six? No doubt. Are they number two? Yeah. It's kind of hard to say. They're ranked ahead of Cincinnati that doesn't play in a tough conference. Okay. They had a tough game at Florida. They lost a game at Texas A&M, and they had a tough game with LSU. Now, let's keep in mind LSU uh, traditionally has a great recruiting class. No, they didn't have their better players. They've had an off year. Haven't been a real good year for them, but those guys can play ball. Florida too. Florida is like this athletic breeding ground. I mean, Florida athletes are typically really good players. So yeah. So should they be number two? Okay, Cincinnati struggled the last 3 weeks out. They struggle with Tulsa. Oregon struggles, Ohio State struggles, and Alabama struggled. Okay, so a lot of them struggle. Um, None of these teams are playing someone who really can't play football. You see what I'm saying? There are a lot of folks. I mean, Michigan and Michigan State, they play football. They're not like, they ain't sorry. Don't get me wrong. They are not poor. They're not poor players. They're not poorly coached. They're not poor in anything. They don't have poor facilities. None of that kind of stuff. So anybody who's complaining about Alabama's being ranked number two, get over it. The one thing about Bama, well, a couple of things about Bama, they've got to play their way in. They have got to play their way in. They have got to win the rest of their games to get in. They got the two toughest games, even though they lost one already, and LSU played them off their feet. You got to figure the toughest game is if they beat Auburn and they go to the SEC championship game, which I'm hoping they will. I think they will. Then they got to play the number one team in the country that hadn't seen any kind of let up this year, none at all. But before that, then I got to play New Mexico State this week, so I don't want to overlook anybody. They got to play Arkansas on the 20th. You never want to overlook anybody. And then they got Auburn. So, tough schedule, tough conference. But whatever happens with Bama, say they lose to Arkansas and Auburn, and then they go to, a nice bowl game, they still, if you think about it, over the past 15, 16 years, there is nothing that can compare to what they did. So I went back and I just pulled some stuff. Really meant to start off with Aaron Rodgers. Did I call him Idiot Rodgers? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Aaron Rodgers. Anyway, sorry, Packer fans. That dude, I don't have nothing for him. But back to Bama. Struggle win. Let's talk about since Saban's there. So I just went back and I pulled some stuff because I wanted to make sure that I had the numbers correct. 15 season, 9 bowl games. It includes playoffs. 19. I'm sorry. 15 seasons. So more bowl games, more postseason games than seasons. Nobody can say that. Nobody ever, ever. 6 national championships in 15 years. That's more than a third of the national championships in Saban's tenure at Alabama. 6 national championships in 15 years. Nobody, ever. Nobody's ever done it. Kind of unlikely that anybody ever will. It's sort of like when Tiger Woods was winning all the golf tournaments, and now there's a different winner every week. You got 52 weeks, you got 40 winners. Nobody dominated. Nobody's going to do this again. Since 2008, there hasn't been a year that Alabama has not been ranked at some point in time number one in the polls. 106 NFL draftees. I think it's 50 something in the pros right now. I didn't look that up. That's my guess. Check it out. See how close I am. That's a guess. I would say 50 plus on NFL rosters or practice squads right now. And I might push that to 60 when I include the practice squads. That is phenomenal. So I went back and I did some research, and I just thought I'd share this. So I started to say in the last 50 years, but I'm almost 70. So I just look back almost 70 years. I said in the last 70 years, national championships. Last 70 years, Bama has 9 or 10 the last 70 years. All right. Oklahoma has 6. Miami looks like they got 5. Texas got 5. Southern Cal has 6. LSU got 5. Nobody else has more than, let's see, Southern Cal. I say that they got 6. Ohio State got 4. 9. And 9. Auburn got 2. They got 1 in 57, even though they got 1 in 2010. You know, which ain't bad. You know, it doesn't mean that you're a bad program. It just means you didn't win a national championship. And so I just wanted to just kind of put that foolishness in its place with people really hating Bama. And it's understandable because I hated the Yankees when I grew up and they always won. I'm a Dodger fan. I think you know that. The Yankees always won in the 50s when I was a little kid and into the 60s. And all of us tend to really pull against folks who are winning, especially when they win so much. And so I just wanted to share that. Okay. Let me just shift a minute and talk a bit about business. I want to give a shout out to Renaissance Bank. All right. So my organization does a program with Renaissance Bank. It's called Renaissance Roots. I happen to be on a program they did last week called The Nest. And so the reason I want to give a shout out, you know, I tell the truth about anybody. And so I'm going to tell the truth if you're doing not good. I'm going to tell the truth if you're doing good. And I really want to give a shout out to what Renaissance Bank is doing for these selected groups of small businesses, really providing some intense training and consulting and bringing speakers and experts with knowledge in to try to help people get ahead in business. And so we concluded the Renaissance Roots Atlanta cohort. Their graduation was today. There were 8 or 9 businesses, outstanding young business, primarily owned by people of color, people that look like me and you, Black folks. And we had one that concluded in Birmingham about a couple of months ago. So hats off to them. And as I was looking for stuff that banks were doing that really made sense, I ran across a couple of things that I'll mention. One of them is the JP Morgan Chase deal. So JP Morgan Chase really, at least, you know, from what I can tell by folks I've come in contact with, and I know some people that are with Chase, in certain markets, they're really doing a good job to make this wealth building, help close the racial wealth gap, use entrepreneurship to help close the gap. And it's important that we know about these efforts, because if we don't know about them, then we can't tap into them. And so I want us all to tap into. And if you live somewhere else now, they're out in Birmingham, So one of the things I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be writing them and saying, hey, look, I know you don't have a branch down here. They kind of have a little business in Alabama, but we need them to extend some of that effort to Alabama. So I think you would all drink to that, right? And finally, we're doing these opportunity forums every week, every month. So if you want to register for the next upcoming opportunity forum, that's going to be next Thursday, November 18th. It's free. You can go on our website, mybbRC.biz, register. We're going to be talking about opportunities that exist for small businesses. The infrastructure bill. I don't know if you're paying attention to that, but we should as business owners. Billions and billions of dollars that's going to be spent over the next decade or so. And so that gives a business owner an opportunity to say, hey, I think I can play here, or I think I can plug in there. Organizations like mine want to help you play, help you plug in, help you get ready, and help you seize these opportunities. We're going to be talking about some of that at our upcoming opportunities forum. We're going to be also talking about some of the things that we can do with the World Games coming up at the opportunities forum. And hey, how you doing, Sophia and Dee Dee? What's up? Hey, Dee. So we're going to be talking about all that, and we also are going to be introducing you to, if you're a business owner and you're looking for a small business loan, and maybe you've had some difficulty, or maybe you're the kind of person that really you don't need the relationship, or you're not really looking for the relationship. I think relationships are important. Hey, Levada. Hey, William. How you doing? I think relationships are really important, but that's okay. That's your thing, because we're going to have people from Bridge by City, and Bridge by City is a bridge. It's an online platform where if you are looking for financing, then you can put your information in the portal, and then banks, not Citibank, but other banks, some local banks, some other banks that are looking for opportunities to loan money to small businesses will find you. It's a novel idea. It's a great idea. It's something that we want to make sure that our business community is aware of. You got to be aware of these things in order to make them work for you. The one thing that we want to do at the Birmingham Business Resource Center, at the A.G. Gaston Business Institute, through our A.G. Gaston Conference, and all of our other efforts are about helping you start, grow, and succeed in business. So just want to make sure that we share that with you. Now, back to this is the you can't make this stuff up category. And the two people I want to talk about are both members of the United States House of Representatives. One from not too far away, Cobb County, Georgia. Cobb County, Georgia. Marjorie Taylor Greene. We all have seen her in the news, and we hear her antics. We know that she is a QAnon follower. She is a Cobb County, that's Atlanta, y'all, Republican. So I checked out Cobb County. It's 62% white, 24% black. So yeah, you'd expect them to vote Republican and have the Republican representative in. And I mean, that's all well and good. Because you're a Republican doesn't and shouldn't give you the license to be totally foolish and ridiculous. It shouldn't give you the license to be totally un-American. It shouldn't give you the license to say things like Biden is paying the Taliban. I mean, this is about this foolish stuff that Biden is paying the Taliban. Come on, give me a break. Who says that? What intelligent lawmaker who is supposed to be some patriot who wants what's good for this nation first, her district, yes. The people she represents, yeah, 62% of them might, hopefully they don't agree with her, but they voted for her. The rioters are being treated worse than now. The rioters, those are the folks that on January 6th riot. So there's an admission that they're rioters, Now sometimes you might ask that question and get a different answer, but that admission that their riders are being treated worse than terrorists, give me a break. And then screaming and being just really just uncouth and loud and ignorant is probably the better word to use when speaking about her. Ignorant. That's who we have and who you folks in Cobb County, Georgia, have representing you in the United States House of Representatives, a QAnon follower. A QAnon follower. Someone who's shouting and being really asinine and embarrassing and making the most stupid comments that you could ever make. That's who y'all got. And unfortunately, the people that she represents obviously might not be embarrassed enough. We'll see. We'll see in a year when that term is up and it's time for her to be reelected. And then this dude from Arizona, Paul Gosar, I mean, you can't really get much more foolish than doing this animated cartoon showing you killing somebody, another member of Congress, by the way. How in the world can somebody who is a member of the United States Congress, the House of Representatives, be so foolish and be so bold? Well, let me introduce this. Maybe it's all a plan because they know that the folks that support them support these kinds of antics. The folks that support them are okay with their racism. They're okay with their foolishness. They're okay with their archaic and asinine thoughts and behavior. It's okay with them. But it can be okay with us. If you care anything about this country, if you care anything about our future, if you just care anything about our image, then we have got to do better. We cannot have people representing us engaging in these just foolish rhetoric, engaging in really violent behavior that could really cause some supremacists. And of course, Gosar is a white nationalist advocate. So that tells you who he is. And I imagine if you gave Marjorie Taylor Greene the opportunity to say that she probably hold that flag up too. That's what we're fighting against, y'all. I mean, that's what we're fighting against in this nation. That's what we're fighting against in the South and in these red states. People who know that they can get away with the most asinine, foolish, ignorant, and dangerous behavior, and they still get elected. Well, what are we going to do? We got to turn out. We got to turn up. We got to keep speaking truth to power. We got to stay on our knees and stay prayed up to make sure that we can help make a difference in this country. Hey, I'll see you again next week. This is Bob Dickerson within the Black.